So today is going to be a bit of a weird one, I think, for many fans of the Old Republic, depending on your perspective, because this MMO has been around for a long time. We're about 6 months away now from the 12th anniversary of the game, which is quite insane, and it has been running, I'm not going to say strong, but it's been running consistently for that long, which is, quite an achievement. And for the entirety of its life cycle, it's been helmed by Bioware, more specifically Bioware Austin, and even though they've had barely any resources and they have a small little team working on it, they've kept this game afloat, giving it consistent updates that have against all odds really kept this game alive. Of course, we had the 10-year anniversary of the game last year, and they promised that it was going to usher in a new era of the Old Republic, and I think for many fans of the game, they haven't really had much. It's been rather bare bones in terms of updates, and yeah, there was a lot of updates to the cartel market and purchasable items, what a surprise. That is pretty much what kept the game alive, and there was the odd game update here and there, but I think most people were generally disappointed in their big 10-year anniversary in 2022 because it didn't really mean anything. But with that said, this was BioWare's baby back in the day. It was one of their biggest projects of all time, but yesterday we had a report come out from IGN that claims the Old Republic is leaving BioWare. The same company that had kept this game alive for 12 years, the same company that had invested nearly $250 million into its development alone, is no longer going to be part of the future of the Old Republic. So let's take a quick look at the article because it goes on to claim that EA is nearing an agreement to move the ongoing development and operation of StarWars The Old Republic from BioWare to a third-party studio called Broadsword Online Games. It's been claimed that the two companies have signed a letter of intent, with the deal expected to be finished by the end of June. EA themselves then responded to this story, which is, rather uncommon for companies to do in regards to scoops, with the following statement. Almost 12 years after launch, Star Wars The Old Republic remains a success and continues to grow its dedicated and passionate community. We're so proud of the work the team has done, and the future of the game and the community continues to be very bright. We're evaluating how to give the game and the team the best opportunity to grow and evolve, which includes conversations with Broadsword, a boutique studio that specializes in delivering online, community-driven experiences. Our goal is to do what is best for the game and its players. Now, IGN claimed that half of the people who still work on the Old Republic at Bioware Austin are going to be given the opportunity to move over to Broadsword Online Games, which is a hell of a mouthful, to continue working on the Old Republic, whereas the other half of Bioware Austin are going to be given opportunities from within Bioware to go on to Dragon Age and to Mass Effect. And for those that don't want to do either, they're probably going to be let go. This changeover for the Old Republic is supposedly being done due to BioWare wanting to focus primarily on their first-party titles. And if you're unaware, the Old Republic MMO does make a respectable amount of money. The game is absolutely littered with microtransactions. They are constantly releasing new skins and new things to buy, new cosmetics and whatnot, and because of that, money tends to flow into the game quite consistently. But BioWare often saw the Old Republic as their kind of cash cow. They took most of the money that came in through the Old Republic, and they then invested that back into other projects within the studio. They would then leave the Old Republic with a smaller skeleton crew to keep it active, but at the same time, despite the game itself earning a respectable amount of money, it doesn't get a lot of new content that has any real substance. As I mentioned, the 10-year anniversary thing was a big letdown for a lot of players, and this is mainly because BioWare take that income and then they put it somewhere else and they don't give a good budget back to the studio that works on the Old Republic. But despite the intent to focus more on in-house BioWare titles, EA themselves are still planning to stay on as the publisher for the game, which means they will still be making a decent amount of money. And, I personally think they should have done one big final expansion for the Old Republic that gave it a really good send-off and then shut the game down. I remember having a conversation with Illeva, an Old Republic content creator, quite recently, and I recall saying to her that it's a real shame to see this once massive hit of a game slowly going down with a whimper. because I thought it really should have gone out with like one big last bang, but alas. So who exactly are Broadsword Online Games, and why exactly are they being touted as the successor to Bioware in regards to the Old Republic? Well, Broadsword Online are known as being a company that have kept very old games, especially MMORPGs, alive over a long period of time. For example, Ultima Online was released in the 1990s and it's still going strong to this day, with Broadsword Online being the company that's keeping it afloat. The same goes for the MMO The Dark Age of Camelot. So as a company, they are really no stranger to keeping games alive and keeping them updated and keeping them running. And additionally, the founder of Broadsword Online was actually one of the original vice presidents for Bioware. And he was actually part of the team at Bioware when they were originally working on the Old Republic back in the late 2000s. So all in all, it does seem like a pretty good fit. But for me, do I think this is a good thing? Well, partially yes and partially no. I know there's a lot of people who still really love to play the Old Republic and still really enjoy it, and for those players to know that the game is going to keep having some investment moving into the future, and knowing that it's going to be kept alive and they're going to have the opportunity to keep playing it, is going to be a really, really good thing for them. However, like I said, for me, personally, I would have rather the Old Republic go out with one last big bang, with one last epic expansion that would have been the last update, and then they kept it on a little bit of life support, and then they eventually shut it down. But that is my question for you guys today. Although this isn't a 100% done deal, the fact that EA came out and actually commented positively on the fact that they are indeed talking to Broadsword kinda means this is a very real possibility. And I want to know if you guys think this is a good idea. Are you happy that the Old Republic MMO is going to be kept alive by another studio? Do you think that Bioware Austin should have kept working on it themselves? Or do you think like me and think maybe it was time to let this game come to an end? Let me know down in the comment section below. As always, if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to hit the like button, it helps me out a great deal. And if you haven't, perhaps consider subscribing to join the biggest growing Knights of the Old Republic community on YouTube. Also, for the first time ever in the channel's history, I have some merch for you guys with a cool design I think a lot of you are going to recognise and like, so if you're interested in supporting the channel and want some channel merch, check out the store or check out the designs at the bottom of this video. All of the merch is currently 15% off, so if you've ever wanted some merch from my channel or from me, then now is a really good time to grab some. I'll see you guys in the next video. But until then, may the Force be with you. Always.